Welcome to this short tutorial for the Tata To Do Today time management system. Today we will be taking a look at the basic concepts to be used. In this case, the time management system is very oriented towards some simple concepts of how you should approach the work you're doing. The basic concepts are first to have the understanding of what things you may have available to you as choices of things, of ways in which you will spend your time today. The second piece will be about determining the differences between urgency and importance. Urgent things are very rarely important, and unfortunately important things are often very rarely urgent. So you need to have some type of a way of thinking, a time management system that allows you to ensure that you do get to doing the important things and you don't let the urgent things take over. So let's take a quick look here at the pieces of the Tata To Do Today time management system so you can get a concept of what's going on there. So the components of the system, and we'll zoom into these. The basic thing that you'll mainly be using is what we refer to as the daily blueprint. It's the sheets of paper that are oriented towards each individual day. You can choose to use the generic versions of the daily sheet, which would be what you'd find in this short PDF file that we're going through right now. We also have the full books that have the pre-printed days throughout the year that you could then use for your own regular diary. Basically, it's the sheet that brings everything together. So what that means is that everything that you've been thinking about in the past as far as things to do, everything that you're thinking about right now as to what you'd like to get done today, all those should converge and be listed on the daily blueprint. And the daily blueprint is what you'll look at to determine exactly what you're going to do at the next step. And this is the place where you'll actually be executing the actions, the things that are important for you to get done. The second piece here is what we'll refer to as a monthly plan. In this case, this is a sheet in which you'll put down things that you desire to get done for the month. This does not say specifically that you accomplish them in the month, but it gives you the place where you put them, and then you will transfer those over to your daily blueprint so that you actually have a specific day that you're going to be working on things. Things that you are not going to be able to accomplish in the current month, you will use the monthly plan, which you have available to you off into the future to write down the placeholder that those things will be things done in following months. So using the monthly plan, you can actually schedule something to be done many months in advance. So rather than having something that's important but not urgent drop off of your list entirely, you're able to actually put a schedule for it sometime further out in the future. Now we also have, as part of the system, what in this case we're referring to as tigers and elephants. These are big efforts, either urgent efforts, large urgent efforts, which would tend to be responses to things that may have gone wrong, or to specific types of urgent projects, or things that are just very large types of projects or very large types of work. So in this case, we kind of distinguish between the two, mainly because of the one on the tigers being a bit more urgent in regard, and so a bit more need for you to be pulling together the people who might be involved in responding to whatever that is and coordinating your schedules and coordinating the tasks to be done. Whereas the elephants tend to be a bit more, actually I'll say repetitive large projects. It could be very large tasks like closing a financial month. There are many things that you do that are complex, but you will repeat those, and so using the elephant sheet gives you a place to write down that those tasks need to be done sometime. Again, like with the monthly sheet, the expectation is that you will be moving the materials that you accumulate on your tigers and elephant sheets into your daily blueprint as it comes closer to the time when you want to be able to execute those things. So those are the basic sheets we have available here in the time management system. So let's talk a little bit about the daily blueprint. In this case, this sheet of paper is one in which, whether you're using the generic form or the pre-printed sheets that show every day of the year, the goal is to bring together all the things where your time and effort are required or desired, and to take those things to completion. So if we take a look at what those sheets look like, and we're going to take a quick look here at the generic version of it on screen, shows the date, and then it has the instructions and the generic version. Ideally, once you've gone through these instructions a few times, been using the system for about a week, you'll have the basic idea of what's going on here as far as the use of how you operate. So first thing is you list every task or action item that you have on the Tata To Do Today column. You'll note that the very first thing that we've already pre-printed onto these sheets is take a moment to plan my day. This is one of the most important things about this whole system is it says take some time to plan what you're going to do, and that extra time that you take at the beginning of the day or perhaps at the end of the day for going forward into the next day, that helps you to really become focused and to really accomplish the things that are best to do. So we want to make sure that we have allocated that time to say that you are going to take some time to plan. Okay, once you know that you're going to do that, then now we start to put down everything that we think we would like to try to accomplish on this particular day. If you're using the system, you'll probably already have a number of things listed on this sheet that may have come from either the Tigers or the Elephants or the monthly sheet as you've entered into this month, or been something moved forward from a prior sheet. So there may already be things here, and then otherwise what you'll do is you'll sit down and you'll think about what is it that you'd like to try to get accomplished today. At this point, write those things down. Now, it may be that you'll write down more than you think you're going to be able to do that day, and that's fine, because what you'll then be doing is deciding how you disposition those things that you've written down. And some of the dispositions might be get it done today. Some might be that it's not worth doing, so stop it, just drop it off the list. And some might be to reschedule that particular task to a time when you are able to be more confident that you can actually accomplish it. So in this particular case, then you've taken together all of these things, all of these tasks here. You've brought forward unfinished tasks from previous days, and then you go through and you take a quick time to mark which of these things are important. After you've been using the system for a while, this will become kind of second nature for you to think about importance. But basically, again, often the things that are urgent may not be the most important things. So please mark through the important areas. We'll have other kinds of training that will talk a bit more about how you identify what's important and how you approach that and how you integrate that into the time management system that we have here. But if you first go through and you take a quick picture of saying what's important, which things are A, B, or C as far as the importance scale, that gets you started. Okay, so mark the importance, and then now that you have those things all in front of you, you have the opportunity to then say how do you want to go after those during the day. You can do that in any way you want to. It's some people have different strategies. Some people like to do something easy to start the day out, kind of motivates them. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have not put off the really important things. Many of the top leaders in the world who use this system, or ones very similar to it, their philosophy is take on the hard things first. So again, you can make your choices as to which way you want to do that. Recommendation though is do not just keep putting off the hard things. If you find that it's too hard to get at the hard things, this might be something where you would take the opportunity to break these into smaller pieces so that you can actually go after them piece at a time, because many very hard things take a very long time to do. That might be a place where you would move things over to those things that we talk about as the elephant sheets or the tiger sheets, things that are too big to really try to accomplish at one time, and so that you may want to be able to plan out the steps you'll take to get those large things done. Okay, so we have that in, and then we've listed down the order that we think we're going to go after these. Note also that during the day things will come up and you can write them down onto here, and that's fine. You can put them into an order if you so desire, but in any case you have them captured somewhere here, and at the end of the day, if you haven't accomplished them on that day, then you can then schedule them into the following day or sometime further out in the future, or you can decide to drop them. Part of the great value of what we're doing in this particular case is that when you're forced to decide whether you will do a task tomorrow or the next day or the next day, and you find you keep putting it off, it may be a task that actually has no real need to be done at all. So one of the great values of this is actually being able to drop things. So please feel free to drop things, really think about it, but drop a lot of things off, because much of what you have on your list today is probably things that you will never do and that have no need to really be done, but you feel reluctant to lose those. So if you can get the rigor to drop things off the schedule, that's a very good thing to do. So at the end of the day, as you go through here, you'll start to use these marks that are shown here. A check mark in the leftmost column will say that the task is finished. Uh, a an arrow will say that that task is not done yet and that you've elected to move it to some other time. And so when you put in an arrow, you'll also put a note someplace along that line as to what date or what month you may have moved that task to. And that's an arrow that says you're still planning to do it, you're just not going to do it today. The X means you've dropped it. As you looked at it, you may have wanted to do it, but it was just a nice to have. And we have a lot of things on our list, and part of the rigor of being a good manager, or a good time manager certainly, is being able to drop off the things that are still good, but by dropping them off, you're giving yourself a lot of time to do the things that are even better than those. A circle would actually be a note that says that this task is not one that you're able to do on your own, or maybe you shouldn't be doing it yourself at all. It will mean that you've actually sent either this task or a task that this is dependent upon to someone else. And so you put a circle in to indicate you've done that. A lot of people will like to put the initial of who they sent this to, or make a note someplace on that line as to who it was sent to. If it's something where where you're requiring that that person send you something back, you may want to make a note on this sheet for a date that you'll do follow-up, and then go to the sheet in the future for that date and write in as one of the tasks on its Tata to do today list to follow up on that task coming from this date. And on that future sheet, it is often helpful to make a note that the follow-up is for something that was from this particular date here. So you have both the date on this sheet you forwarded it to and the date on that sheet that it came from, and that helps you to be able to follow back up where that was coming from and to get some context on it. Okay, and then during the day you can put just a dot into that column just to show you're working on something. It makes you feel that something's being accomplished. But again, at the end of the day, or before you lose this particular sheet, you're going to need to make sure that you don't have any dots left, that any task will either have had to have been done, moved, dropped, or given to someone else. So that's the choices you have there. So throughout the day, you're using this as your guidance. On the right-hand side, there's the plan for the day. That's a place where you can put your appointment schedule and either use it in a diary format or forward things on from your other scheduling systems. It's also then a place for you to actually allocate some of your own time to work on these tasks. So you can make appointments with yourself, schedule with yourself when you're going to get something done. Many people find that it is useful next to the line on the left-hand side where the task occurs to maybe put a letter with a circle or a box around the outside of it, and then put that same letter over on the right-hand side to show that that's the time in the day that you plan to work on that particular task. Similarly, if you go to the bottom of this sheet of paper, you'll see that there's a small space there for making some notes, and you can make your notes there and use the letter in a box or letter in a circle form to tie the notes in this box to the line that the things are coming from. You should also feel free to use multiple sheets, use extra sheets of paper to make notes. The intention of this particular sheet of paper here is just to serve as the focal point for the work you're doing during the day. And let me briefly show you what that looks like when it's already something that has the date in it. So rather than the generic format, the one that you'll find in the diary version of this will also in that space show you what the current date is, and will give you a visual cue as to what the calendar looks like for this month, what last month's calendar looked like, and what you're going to see for next month as well. So that's the more specific version that we hope that you're wanting to use.